everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Believe in Colts podcast.
Welcome back to Believe in Colts. I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my guy, Donald Thomas. Donald, huge game for the Indianapolis Colts coming up, heading into Jacksonville, Week 6. Jacksonville and the Indianapolis Colts are absolutely locked, tied right now for the divisional lead at 3-2. Indianapolis Colts have not won in Jacksonville since 2014. How big is this game for the Indianapolis Colts heading into Week 6?
This game is huge. This game is the biggest game to date this season for the Colts, and it is going to be imperative that they go down to Jacksonville with nothing but a win on their mind and come back and be in control of the division. So expect to see a physical, hard-fought game, and we're in tune for a good one. I just hope that the Colts can break that streak of no wins since 2014, which is crazy to me.
Oh, it is absolutely crazy, and we're going to get into this game in just a moment. But before we do, I want to remind everyone that BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, NFL, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember, use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Now, as we get into this game, something that I'm going to have to mention. Obviously, we all know that Anthony Richardson is out with an AC joint issue, an injury that he suffered this past week. He's going to be out 4 to 8 weeks, depending upon whether or not he needs surgery. But Gardner Minshew, guy who has 3-0 right now on his record in games that he's played this season, and this week he's going up against a team that drafted him, played him for 2 years, then benched him to get the starting quarterback that they have right now in Trevor Lawrence. Is this a game where, a little bit of a revenge factor for Gardner Minshew heading into this?
100%. I mean, if Gardner's going to say that it's not, he's lying, right? I mean, as a professional athlete, you are very competitive. You take a lot of pride in what you do. And you just want to compete at a high level. And so when a team discards you for an upgrade, you have an issue with that. And so he can sit there and he can maybe try to be political and say that isn't he just concentrating on getting a W? But no, he wants to go down there and he wants to prove that they made a mistake and that he is the guy who they turned down, and he's a good player and he's still here. And so Gardner's going to come out firing on all cylinders, and don't let him make you think that that's not the case, because it is.
Oh, absolutely. You were a guy before the season started was actually advocating to start Gardner Minshew over Anthony Richardson because of his experience, because of his familiarity with Shane Steichen's offense. He's 3-0, as I mentioned earlier, so far on this Colts team this year. Going forward over the next 4 to 8 weeks, how big is this? How much is on Gardner Minshew's shoulders right now? Can he be that guy and continue to lead this team to victory after victory as we get into the meat of the season?
Well, I mean, honest to God truth, when I heard the Anthony Richardson news, it was, I didn't panic. As much as you don't want to see your starter, your franchise guy go down, knowing that you have a quality backup or quality, I won't even say backup, it's a quality replacement for him that can possibly play better than him, in those crunch time situations, or just just leading a football team. It was kind of relieving. So, yes, Anthony's done for a while, but he picks right up where he left off. And quite frankly, he's had a good body of work so far when he stepped in for Anthony this season. So, I've been an advocate for it. I said he should have started to start the season off. There's people that disagree with me. People always disagree with anybody's opinion, right? But I'm just telling you from a perspective of, If you want a guy ready to step in right now and you want to get wins and make a playoff push, you put the veteran in that has shown that he can do it at a high level, as opposed to rolling the dice with your rookie quarterback. But I get it. You have to throw him in the fire at some point, right? I'm not disputing that. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying from my perspective, I would have started Gardner. So now that we are in this, dilemma or this whatever we're in, right, where we have to make a decision and Gardner's the guy, I'm not concerned about it. I'm actually like, all right, let's roll.
Awesome. This past week was the first game back for Jonathan Taylor, the running back who just got that huge contract signing, $14 million a year for the next 3 seasons. Goes into this game, gets 7 total touches, right? 6 carries, 1 catch. The catch was pretty darn nice. I love seeing Jonathan Taylor out in space with the football. But the big news, the big day, was not to Jonathan Taylor. It was to that other running back, Zack Moss. Carried the ball so many times and had so much success against the number 1 run defense in the NFL. How are these snaps, how are these touches going to be divided in the second week back with Jonathan Taylor coming in against the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Well, I'll start by saying I'm glad I don't have to make those decisions, right? Because that's not a decision I would want to make. But here's the thing, Jonathan's going to start getting more touches. Everybody knows that. Zack knows that. Jonathan knows that. This is a build-up process. We can – I don't know how many touches he'll get. I think he's going to get maybe, we'll double it and we'll see close to 15, maybe 10 to 15 touches this game is my prediction. That's going to be like what I say he should get. But the problem's going to be – how is Zack? How does Zack respond to it? Because at some point, these reps are going to get cut in half. It's just going to happen. You're not giving a guy $14 million and not giving him saying, "Oh, we'll wait for Zack to fall off and then you can take the reins." Like that's not going to happen. So it's going to be like a Dallas situation last year when you had, two running backs. They split time, blah blah blah. You use one for short yardage. You use one for first and second down. Third down, maybe split them out. And who's the better receiver there? It's going to be a situation like that where I feel like whoever prevails as the better running back over the course of the season, we'll see it'll be like a 60-40 kind of split. But it's going to be very clear here in the next few weeks what's going to happen because they got to work JT back into it.
Well, you're talking about 10 to 15 touches. That's if you double that, 10 to 15 for each one, that's 20 to 30. That's generally what your bell cow usually has, 20 to 30. So my thought process at this point, if he's already going to get 10 to 15, well, why don't you just go with the hot hand at the time? Kind of switch it off drive to drive. Whoever seems to be having the hotter hand, go ahead and let them carry the load for the most part and use the other guy as a speller. Is that something that maybe Shane Steichen might go with?
I feel like that is a possibility. Here's the deal, though, right? Like there's certain ways that your running backs fit into an offensive scheme. Some are downhill power runners where it's a little bit of a slower pace game. Some of them are, your Tyreek Hill kind of dynamic, kind of shifty guys that, they're it's faster pace, right? And so it all kind of depends on what the game plan is going to be for the time being. And it also kind of really depends on, not about just having the hot hand, but about who do you trust more, as the season goes, right? And so, like, in those times where we need a yard, who's going to hit it harder, right? And those times where we need to really widen the defense out, who's our guy? And whoever can kind of, show up and kind of be that person that's going to be like that every down player is the one that's going to play, in my opinion. But you can't, sometimes it doesn't work where you're trying to you're trying to be nice to one so the other one doesn't get mad and be nice to him and baby this one. And you're really hindering your offense at the same time. It just doesn't work that way. Like someone's got to be cut and dry. Like, listen, you're getting the reps. You're the starter. When you get down, you go in and you got to be cool with that, with that role. Now, will guys accept that? It's another thing for us to see.
Yeah. I was going over the All-22, the coach's film of the game against the Titans, and I was seeing something that it just a continuation for a guy to get 150 plus rushing yards. Not only does the offensive line have to be blocking well, but the whole team right? The tight ends, your wide receivers, whatever, they all got to be, doing their job properly. And all season long, I have seen a wide receiver in Alec Pierce just been stonewalling like safeties and corners. And then this game against the Titans this past week, I was watching him stonewall linebackers. I mean, stonewall them to the point where they never got close to the play. And I'm like, what is this? What am I seeing? As an offensive lineman, does that get you fired up when you see like wide receivers out there like just laying out, amazing blocks, out on the outside as well, and coming in and doing it against like, legitimate guys that you guys are supposed to be blocking off, right?
Yeah, I mean, it makes our job easier. You always like to see guys, get in on the blocking because that's what we do as offensive linemen. And, honestly, like I still love to watch. Like I can tell you watching the play, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a good run. It's going to be a good run right here because I see it develop. Like everybody's on the right angle. Everybody's taking, the right approach, and they're all in unison, like boop, 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 like hitting the gaps and getting in there and getting on guys. So, and especially when you see like a receiver come in and he crack blocks and he gets on that outside linebacker and he stones them, or he's just out there on the perimeter just blocking and giving us those extra 3 or 4 yards. It's huge, man, because now everyone takes blocking fun because honestly, football is nothing but blocking and tackling. I mean, let's just go back to the basics of when everyone started playing football. What's the first thing they're taught? Block and tackle. But I do have to have one bone to pick with you though, Lawrence.
Go ahead.
Okay. A few weeks ago, you said your patience was running thin with Mr. Pierce, right?
Yes.
But yeah, and rightfully so, because your argument is definitely valid. I get it. But see how there's other things that like a little bit that keeps him on the field. Like if I take him off, I don't have anyone else that can block like him. Now all I need you to do is just catch the ball when your number's called, right? And so like it just takes time for some guys to like develop. I think he's great at one thing, and that's really another thing. If you watch college film when he was back at Cincinnati, like he did a really good job of blocking on the perimeter, like really good job of it. And like I remember when he was coming out, guys were talking about this guy's like exceptional blocker in the run game. It's huge. It's like having a guy that can block and catch the ball. We have a receiver that takes pride in blocking too. It's fun, and so like I'm glad that you saw and picked up on him. Getting in the run game and really seeing how he really gets in there and blocks guys, and he adds yardage to the plays.
Absolutely. I've noticed that all year that, Alec Pierce just keeps getting better and better at blocking. Not just, like I said, out on the perimeter, but he'll come from the perimeter, go inside like he did in the game this past week and just lay out linebackers right at the point of attack. And I'm just like, this is amazing. Right. Still losing my patience with the catching the ball, bringing it in, holding on to it though. He's got to as a wide receiver. That is an important job.
It's very important actually. Just all I can say sometimes with those younger guys that get drafted high, and they come from a lot's put on them, but at the same time, like we all want it's a results, right? We want to see results, high performance, high paying business, and the results are what counts and matters. So yes, but I do have hope that he can see that he's getting better every week. He's one of those guys where practice is so crucial for him. Like he's got to be on the practice field during the season. Like practice for him, like he has to work on something every single day. Get better at practice is going to be crucial in his development. It's not just an off-season thing for him. Like, yeah, he knows the routes. He knows everything else. He's got to learn how to really attack practice and get better every day.
Absolutely. Now, this past Sunday, the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they beat them in London, and it has a lot to do with, the speed and ability of these guys that Jacksonville has on offense. Calvin Ridley, Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, Travis Etienne, Evan Ingram, the tight end, all these guys, very quick, great yards after the catch. And the Indianapolis Colts, as we know, very, very, very young. We're talking rookies on the outside, right? At cornerback. And I talked about last week how that was a worry with me going up against Tennessee. And of course, DeAndre Hopkins had himself a game. I expect probably Calvin Ridley to have a game as well in this game because of the situation of the youth of our cornerback situation. But this will be the second game that Jalen Jones, the 7th round pick, will be able to be playing. Juju Brents will be in his 3rd game this year. What are your thoughts about the matchups between their wide receivers and our secondary?
It'll be interesting to watch. That's for sure. I think that this is a game where, and I mean, honestly, for the rest of the season, it's going to be a lot of experience versus inexperience. And those guys just have to get better every week. You know, ETN and those boys are shifty guys. They're very tough to keep up with. I think that there's going to be, it's not just the corners. It's going to be, what are the safeties going to do this game? What is Rodney Thomas going to do this game, right? Like, he's got to be over the top of one of those guys, and he's going to have to help those younger guys out. And really, for the rest of the season, the safety play is going to be so crucial in helping out these young corners when they, if and when they do get beat. Safeties are going to have to make plays, and this is one of those games where we talked a couple weeks ago about, Rodney had, tackle a little bit better. And so this is going to be where we're going to have to really have some good tackling. We got to wrap up, head up, across the thigh board. We can't be one of those where we think we're just going to, use a shoulder and get in on those guys. But, these guys are their numbers are called at this point. Man, they're going to have to show up, and they might have to play off a little bit. They can't. I mean, press coverage might be the death of the secondary this week. This isn't a press coverage game, in my opinion. We got to get a little cushion and give those guys everything in front of us, keep them in front, make the tackle, and then just hope our four up front can get pressure on the quarterback.
Absolutely. Our looks like to me that we're going to get 2 guys back from concussion that we did not have last week. Bernard Ryman, the left tackle, looks like he's on pace to come back, which means we'll have a fully healthy offensive line, which would be nice.
My gosh. Yeah.
And Kwity Paye will be back. It looks like he's also full practicing, which means we're going to have a fully healthy defensive line. How big is the battle of the trenches this week against Jacksonville?
Huge. I mean, on the defensive side of the ball, when we look at it from a standpoint of, we talked about the previous weeks, where was the pass rush, right? Where was the pass rush? With Paye coming back, that really helps us out, having him firing. Hopefully he's all the way 100% of what he can possibly be for this game. But it's always crucial, man. Like, I'm biased, right, when it comes to, you ask me, it's really up front, right, that takes care of business, the outcome of the football game. And so on the defensive side of the ball, we have all 4 guys, and the way our linebackers are stepping up and playing right now, I think that honestly, like, Zaire Franklin is probably one of the best playmakers on defense and in football right now. I mean, this is just my opinion. I'm not just saying it just because this is the Believe in Colts podcast. I'm saying it because I'm watching this young man make plays, and it's pretty impressive. So having those guys all healthy allows, our linebackers to get free and make some plays. It allows us to have to hurry the quarterback up. And now we might get some bad throws. We can get some picks. I'm waiting. I want to see Juju get another one. You know what I'm saying? I want to see Rodney get a pick and somebody else in the secondary, so we can get this, the microscope off of, our secondary and the pressure on those guys, man.
Absolutely. You were talking about Zaire Franklin, and, he's playing with that fire and intensity that he played with when he was a special teams guy, right? And when he was called up to do linebacker, he brought that same fire and intensity. Someone else I'm starting to see that with a guy this year that was brought up from a special teams ace, Grant Stewart, who was backing up Shaquille Leonard. Shaquille being out, Grant Stewart last week came in and was firing on all cylinders. Now, granted, he missed a tackle because he was very aggressive, which allowed one of the big runs. I think it was 10 yards. Right. But in the most part, he was making tackles. He was making tackles in the backfield. He was shooting gaps, doing very, very, very well for himself. So I'm hoping to see more out of him along with EJ's speed. I 100% agree with you. I think this linebacking core right now is all playing with I wouldn't call it necessarily a reckless abandon. It's just that fire and intensity that you like to see these young guys play with. Not, just no care, just go and do your job, right?
Yeah. I mean, when you have young guys that are considered to have been the underdogs coming into their NFL careers and they weren't the stars, they're backups and just on special teams. And that's for any position. When you get a shot, you like, listen, I'm better than him. I'm about to show you I can go, right? And so you have guys stepping up like EJ, that when they get their shot to play, they're full go. And they're going to show you like, all right, you can nitpick and say that, so-and-so does this better than me, but I'm about to give you every single down where I'm going to try to make a play. I got to be smart. I got to, shoot my shot, and I guarantee you, like, the coaches got on him about, missing that tackle. But at the end of the day, like, if you make a mistake, my coach always say you better make it 1,000 miles per hour. I have no qualms with that. So if you're going to make a mistake or you're going to go in and shoot your shot, going 1,000 miles an hour, shoot your shot, we'll correct it. It didn't bite us in the butt. It was a 10-yard run, and we'll fix it, right? So I love to see guys. I was a 6th-round draft pick, and heck, you couldn't tell me I wasn't going to be a starter my rookie year, right? Because I was like, I'm going to prove to everyone that when I get my shot, right, you know what I'm saying, I'm not giving it back, and I'm going to show you that I'm better than you. And so that's exactly what I did. And so when you look at guys like this that get a shot when you have Leonard, who's the guy and got paid, and everyone's like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Okay, now he's hurt. Okay, my turn. I'm about to show you that I'm in the league for a reason. I love seeing that, right? Because it's like the underdog mentality where you just get a group of guys that just want to make plays.
Any final words or thoughts about this upcoming game?
It's got to be physical. The Colts, if you look at it from a standpoint, the last time they were in Jacksonville last year, they packed it up. At the end of the season last year. It was, one of those performances where I couldn't believe it, right? And so, like, they know that they're grown men, they're professionals. I guarantee they talked about it, even though it wasn't the same coaching staff and all that. Like, they know what it was, and so they got to go in there. And Jacksonville knows they haven't won since 2014. It's going to be a physical game. It's going to be physical. It's going to be, the room for mistakes are going to be very, very small. And the turnover battle, we got to win the turnover battle. If the Colts can do that, control the line of scrimmage and be the more physical team, they have a shot. I mean, honest to God truth, this game for me can go either way. This game can go either way. And I'm not just saying that because the Colts haven't won since 2014, but Jacksonville just has their number, and they just, for whatever reason, turn it up. And they're coming off of a win as well where they played. I still think Buffalo's a very good football team, even though they got some internal issues. They beat a very good football team, and so it's going to be interesting to see how the Colts respond to them. Jacksonville riding high right now.
Absolutely. My final thoughts on this game is pretty much we talked about, how this team was unable to get some pressure at times over the last couple weeks playing that zone defense, and how you don't want to play press coverage against these guys, which means you better make your tackle when that ball is caught, right? Yeah. You cannot allow yards after catch. You're already going to give up, little quick short passes, high completion passes, the way it is as it is. You better make the tackle when it's there. Otherwise, we're going to get burnt bad. So in my opinion, this is a situation where fundamentals are very, very important. Cover, close, tackle. That is the most important thing. If we can get that accomplished, I feel like our defense will limit big play opportunities, and you will see opportunities. If you're able to do that, there will be opportunities to capitalize on mistakes from their offense, because the more plays they have offensively, that means the more opportunities for a mistake to happen, might get a turnover or something. So that's big for me. Score predictions, my guy. Go ahead.
I got to go for, okay, I'll go first. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to say 28-21 Jacksonville.
Ooh. Yeah, you know what? I can understand that. I see it. I mean, this is a pretty darn high-powered offense. I got a feeling like you said, this is kind of a revenge game for Gardner Minshew. I also feel like we've already played Jacksonville once. Gus Bradley kind of knows and sees a little bit about what to expect from this year's Jacksonville team. He'll probably, they might not play up close and personal, but I feel like we might bring a little bit more pressure than we did against the Titans, sending an extra fifth man or something, or sixth man for pressure. I feel like we can walk out of this game with a win as long as we're able to run the ball very, very well and control the clock. Keep that high-powered offense on the sideline. I see this as a game where the Colts could win 24-17.
Okay.
Last week you picked the Titans, or I picked the Titans. You picked the Colts. This week it's flipped. So,
yep, it is. So, I just think this is going to be a hard-nosed football game, and this is probably a matchup that many people around the league won't watch. Fans of football, but if you are a fan of football, you might want to tune in and watch this game because it has a lot of playoff implications, and it's just I love watching games like this because they're very important for the season.
Yeah, it's the AFC South right now. No team has less than 2 wins, right? That's a really tight division right now. So, and this will be the fight for the divisional lead. So, absolutely huge game when it comes to playoff implications. But I think that's going to do it for this episode, a preview of the Indianapolis Colts heading to Jacksonville, Week 6 of the 2023 NFL season. I'm Lawrence Owen. As usual, that's my guy, Donald Thomas. This was Believe in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. And as usual, go Colts.
Go Colts, baby.
Do you believe?